But this is by far, this is the first time I've ever, in looking at many different things and taking, taking lessons, but this is the first time that I felt like there was really any system, any actual system.
I was surprised at how quickly that I picked up on making those chords.
Awesome.
Throughout the. I practiced for honestly like a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Perfect.
That was
That's what it's all about.
When I played, my very first album I recorded was with a guy from Sony Records.
Yeah.
There's a lady out in Australia by the name of Gina Jeffries, and her husband, Rod McCormack, he's played with Tommy Emmanuel. Unbelievable. He was doing all of the stuff. He was doing university level, like, guitar at the age of 14. Like, he's just a like a psycho as far as, and like, I'm watching him and go, I want to play like that. And it's like, after 12 years, I'm like, I need to learn from an Eric or someone like that, because I'm not getting there.
Dude, you're getting PhD level guitar right here.
Thanks, mate. I can see that, and I'm so glad that I'm getting it from you, because it's been hard to find another teacher that will teach at your level.
I love it. I really, really love it.
I think oftentimes people don't know that their aspirations could be much larger.
No shit. Or like going to a show and watching hands on a fretboard, and it's like, that's what I did last night. I was just like, oh, whoa, I know what they're doing.
I don't know, like I told my girlfriend, she saw me do the exercise and she's like, oh, that's it? I was like, yeah, that's it. So it's kind of cool that it's short and, doable. And then I go on to my other practicing.
It's more of like really just kind of like mentorship. Instead of like, do it this way. It's just like taking our knowledge and kind of sharing, and then letting, everything's just been leading to that so far. Because I would have never, ever been able to do any of this. And then in just 7 weeks, I'm like, what?
Once I got it, I was like, this is brilliant.
Yes. It was just like, whoa, wait a minute. Everybody stop. It was like, this changes everything moment.
That's really been interesting to see just how little time it actually takes. That's crazy.
Quite remarkable. Quite remarkable.
Well, I mean, really, the bottom line is the one word answer to all the questions about describing this or what the essence of it is, I think really is joy. I mean, that's what I want to experience when I'm playing guitar, not like I'm, solving a math equation and like wrangling 40 cats in a cold shower. I want to, which has sort of been my experience to date-ish.
If I'd have learnt this 10 years ago when I started, 12 years ago, oh man, where were you 12 years ago?
It's the confidence and feeling like I can do this, and just having fun with it.
Look, I did not expect this, how much it dives into some of the bedrock of the theory of music. And it, to me, because you're hitting it from a guitar perspective, it's, on one hand, you're changing the way a guitarist looks at a guitar, but at the same time, it's like sneaking education in there.
And my husband, he was like, what are you doing? It was so awesome. I was like, I'm doing this new process to learn the fretboard. Oh, okay. But he's so funny. The next morning, he'd be like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm doing the thing we talked about. He couldn't believe how excited I was. It was like, oh my gosh, what else can I learn? Like, the wall was there, that's always been there, but somehow it didn't stop me this time. And so there's a part of me that's like, I can get this. I can get it. And there's the other part that's like, no, you got it. And it's like, oh my gosh, where's that voice coming from? You know what I mean? And yeah, so I guess maybe that's why I feel so exhilarated. Because it's like, oh my gosh, you're really not going to feel like an idiot anymore. And that's astounding with a minute a day.
That's how I want to play my guitar. I want it to sing. I want my guitar to be alive and sing. But I was headed the wrong direction, totally, because it's not at all like the piano. I learned more in 7 weeks for how to make this thing mine than all the years I had tried.
I'm really thankful for all this, I don't know where could I learn all these things. I think you're a great teacher.
I started taking guitar when I was 14. I've tried other online lessons, a couple of them here and there, you know, learned some things, which is great, but I still am like, I just always knew there was something to it, but I couldn't figure out what it was.
The funny thing is, if it was the first time I picked up a guitar, it might seem like the fingering pattern is not hard at all, but now that I know what I'm doing, it's and have to pay attention to everything, it's quite demanding. You need total focus for 1 minute to do that. You know, I like the drill because it's kind of straightforward, and the one thing I can say is that it's probably the first time that I've seen a drill being able to connect along and across, you know, in one drill.
In college, I played a good bit of jazz guitar. I probably, in those 4 years, maybe learned, 100 chord forms that I didn't already know. But, everything often on the guitar, it just feels like a sort of place to put your fingers, and then you have no idea of where the intervals are, and it's those things you get so comfortable, like, you can play through whatever using those things, but you have no idea in your head how it's connected.
It's more like, I hope I find the right tone right now. If I'm going to call out the notes, like or think about them, it's not like you think about them really when you're on your piano, but you already know what note you're on. You don't have to think. So that is a disconnect for me. And like, I've tried to just spend more time with it, kind of memorizing it. Through that, I thought I might learn some more of the notes as I was going through and all that stuff, and I still am like shape based.
It's worth a lot to me. It's worth everything. I mean, the experience of joy, I mean, I think that's a place that you've gotten to in your playing. You can pick up a guitar, and I can play any bass line or whatever, and maybe there's some names and notes or scale degrees or calculations that are fleeting notions in your head, but your hand comes alive and you play what you hear in your head. What's that worth to you? Everything. If you didn't do it, you'd be dead.
My disconnect comes from like a vertical sense. I'll jump to a pattern, not respecting its interval from the chord being played. When they're changing chords and you're still on the same pattern, or you move your pattern, what am I going to do? Maybe it sounds good if I'll go down, or whatever. And, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it doesn't, but you don't know what's happened.
Sometimes it's just noodling instead of being musical. Not serving the tone or the song.
I had some teachers where it was like, they were like, okay, well, you're going to learn these notes and then you're going to play Mary Had a Little Lamb and this and that, and stuff. And I was like, okay, but why do I want to do that? I don't really want to do that. I mean, I know there's going to be some point of, it's not like you're just going to get on there and start wailing away at something, but I didn't see the point of what they were trying to teach. It was just like, well, now you know that letter and that letter, but for no real reason. It was just so I know Mary Had a Little Lamb. At the end of it, that's all I knew, Mary Had a Little Lamb. But I didn't know why or what the notes would do outside of that, It's making more of a connection and a relationship to, the actual instrument rather than, learn these basic things and then you'll learn other things and eventually you'll make the connections on your own. I feel like this is sort of making those relationships first, and then you can play anything you want.
I can sit down at a piano and play and just, most of the keys without even thinking about it, but I'm like stuck in.
Because it's visual. Because you just know what the note is instantly.
I can even close my eyes and do it. I can close my eyes and play in G on a guitar, but it's still pattern based.
I've often felt like, without the language that you've developed, like I can think horizontally, but I can't think vertically. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and it's great. I love that it's connected to ear training.
Really powerful stuff, and and this is it's nuking my brain even more. The kind of growth exponentially that can happen in people, there's no limit there when you can walk through that wall that seems so real to you, but it's not. That's amazing.
I went from learning the pentatonic to learning the 3 notes per string thing and it wasn't an effort for anything. It was just an effort to learn all the notes. I'll play scales up and down, whatever, and force myself to call the notes out. But it still doesn't ever, if I go to improvise like something quickly, I still revert back to the pattern.
I must say that I like your psychological approach too. You know, at the beginning, I've found that quite inspirational. You know, as far as to keep to keep my commitment and resolve to do it. Yeah. Thought, right, okay, time to sit down and just get into it. You know.
Awesome.
There's a disconnect between, you know, 3 notes per string, 2 notes per string, and then you don't know where you are numerically. Am I on the 1, the 2? Am I on the 3? Nope, I'm just going to noodle.
Knowing what I know now, I would encourage other people too. You know, that's really good value. I am impressed by the way that you structure the material and the way you get it across. The progression from one lesson to the next, that's worked really well for me, you know. Going from virtually no understanding of music except as a listener, I listened to a lot of different kinds of music and I related to it, but I never really understood, you know. And now I've got a lot more understanding. It's increased my appreciation of listening to music as well.
I really like what you're talking about with the tonality. You know, it's tonality that matters, not just let me jump to this pattern and then like fit in with the band or whatever. Like I could see how I could get there. I've been on a journey of learning the fretboard in a way that you describe, where you don't have to think. Just like when you're sitting at a piano, you're not going to be thinking, you're going to be playing. It was just like, whoa, wait a minute, everybody stop. It was like this changes everything moment.
There is a tremendous amount of insight, depth, understanding. Inspired me. Also, you've reignited my intense interest in playing guitar. Once I got it, I was like, this is brilliant. That's a tremendous insight that you have given me. It's everything right there. It seems to me that pretty much encapsulates everything you can do on the guitar neck.
I've been trying for the last, 10 years or so to be able to play like one area. I've seen how people do that and how lead guitarists play like that. And I think, how the heck do they do that? Up till now, it's been all over the fretboard. I understand the concept, all the caged and whatnot, but just the fact that it's all laid out here, your white notes and your black notes, and the fact that you can play everything that you ever wanted to play right here. That really surprised me. I'm like, wow, I've been learning a bit of keyboard, but I just thought, you know, I saw it and it took me a while to see it, and I thought, oh wow, that's really cool. And now I can play right here. I thought, okay, I can see the way forward. That's why I started with this whole idea of the trades. I thought I'll learn all the trades, then major, then minor, and I play them up and down the neck. Instead of playing bar chords, I'll learn these little. No, it didn't happen. I was like, too much. It was information overload. And I get into a gig situation. I go back to playing. I know my scale. That's all I know. I just know that one scale. It's ingrained from 10 years ago. I need to unwind. It's the thing, you know, like that's what there's all these shortcuts that you're talking about. Oh, go into an F, you got 2 flats. I've got no idea because I just play with shapes by ear. And I'm like, oh God, I really need to know some theory. And what that's doing is teaching me the theory behind it. If I'd have learned this 10 years ago when I started, 12 years ago, oh man, where were you 12 years ago? So yeah, you got the map of the white keys and the black keys, 2 octaves in each area.
Yes, bingo.
Incredible.
That's exactly
That is incredible. Yeah, it is. It's incredible when you break it down like that. You think, and you're saying master this area first, and then when we get onto that area and that area, and then once you know all 5, well, you can do anything you want.
Like I've gone to university, and I've done classical singing, and I've done jazz bass and all that kind of stuff. And I've been doing this instrument for 14 years. So I probably can implement a lot of this really rapidly over the next few months and really make some changes, right? I've got a decent grasp on like the feel of jazz and swing and all that, but there's just a lot of this extra stuff that I never necessarily had the opportunity to dig into. And this looks like a much more approachable way. I think oftentimes people don't know that their aspirations could be much larger if these concepts were easier to implement and understand. It's the easiest way to give your home center getting really well acquainted with the starting place. Then whenever it gets modified into the other lines, you can see the same relationships more easily. 4 or 5 different shapes, it's you can just immediately see where it's moving to.
Appreciate your time, and I've got to really digest this. It's quite remarkable, quite remarkable.
Thank you very much for your kind sharing of your time and your expertise and your insight.
Here, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
All the
so
best. Take care.
What you're presenting is an extremely deep chord. It gives you a music structure on which you can base your own branching out and creativity. What you're doing is pathfinding. And when you show people a path which nobody else has seen, that's the way of a leader. But inspiration, you've got it. I think you might be very important to the future of this instrument. Very, very pleased to have made your acquaintance. It's been an inspiration for me.